John, you want to do it for me, please? Thank you. Are you there, John? Oh, thank you. You can do it for your father. Can you hear me? Okay. Uh, William, go ahead and do it for me, please. Thank you.
Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I have come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual meaning.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Super. Thank you. Okay. Do remember what did we learn last week, William? In general.
Yeah, so last week we were gonna do the 62 wrong views, but instead, what did we?
Yeah, I put on the show here on the slide so you can see.
Yeah. So we did. Yeah, we talked about the things like that the Buddha doesn't do, and like how a normal person would praise the Buddha for all of these things, which are, from the Buddha's point of view, are not like the highest things to praise the Buddha for. That they're more of like, they're normal things that any shramana, anyone who has left home to seek a spiritual life, that any of them should do. So he was pointing out that these are just basic guidelines to follow for someone who's seeking a spiritual life.
Yeah. So due to the okay, give me 1 second. Let me plug in the power. I thought I plugged in the power. Oh, I did not plug in the power. Okay, otherwise we will have power. Doing good. So yeah, the teacher and the student, right? They went they will go very close to the Buddha and that is a Buddha disciple, and they wanted that means it's the one who that means the teacher who abused, and also this very disrespect to the Chikuchu, right? But the student is very, so the way they're facing the Chikuchu, that means the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And the way they trace him is just like we know that all the 8 lay person precepts, as well all these things here, and also because the Buddha is no longer addicted to the one, the faithful one who feeding the food, right? That means he is the beggar, but he's not stick to anyone. Okay, and he have no enjoyment to store food and so on. He also do not attending to the music or whatever the soul, right? He have no, and also he do not pursue any idol, idol pursuits such as game and sport and so on in politics and got gossip and all that thing, and also the speculation about the land and the sea, and he also refrained from the disputation. That means you are wrong, I am right, and so on. That the Buddha no longer engage in those things, and also he did not do anything like the politic people can control him. But all this praising to the Buddha, just like when the elementary student praising the one who have the PhD, do you think that is a good praising for the PhD person, William?
They would probably be more happy to get praise from someone with a PhD than an elementary student, but they still may be happy even for that.
I mean, the elementary student know how to praising the PhD professor.
No.
Okay, to that level, they know only they facing by the level, right? The same thing with the middle school, the same thing with the high school. When they're tracing the PhD professor, they only pray by the level. The same thing with the community college student, they also think that, but only the one who maybe the BS, right, the BA, they praising that is acceptable, that is okay, right? Or the master, that is okay too, to praising the PhD because they know the value, right? The same thing here. So when we hearing someone praising us about the Dharma, the Buddha said that do not, the only thing we looking at, it is right, it is how how that thing works. And if yes, then we go with it. That means the Dharma. If the Dharma is true with the Dharma, we will practice, else we will not practice. That's the only thing. When they're facing us, to make sure that they're really facing the Dharma. Mm-hmm. And it's tough, right? It's not easy for the normal people like us. Last time we, okay, let me, okay, I am making a lot of, okay, let me see. So, okay, I think we stop right here somewhere, I guess. We are very close here. I think we stop right here, I guess. Okay, that's okay. All right, William, go ahead and read the highlights. Thank you.
Whereas some ascetics and Brahmins make their living by such base arts as predicting good or bad rainfall, a good or bad harvest, security, danger, disease, health, or accounting, computing, calculating, poetic composition, philosophizing, the ascetic Gautama refrains from such base arts and wrong means of livelihood. Whereas some ascetics and Brahmins make their living by such base arts as arranging the giving and taking in marriage, engagements and divorces, declaring the time for saving and spending, bringing good or bad luck, procuring abortions, using spells to bind the tongue, binding the jaw, making the hands jerk, causing deafness, getting answers with a mirror, a girl medium, a deva, worshipping the sun or great Brahma, breathing fire, invoking the goddess of luck. The ascetic Gautama refrains from such base arts and wrong means of livelihood. Whereas some ascetics and Brahmins, feeding on the food of the faithful, make their living by such base arts, such as wrong means of livelihood, as appeasing the devas and redeeming vows to them, making earth house spells, causing virility or impotence, preparing and consecrating building sites, giving ritual rinsings and bathings, making sacrifices, giving emetics, purges, expectorants, and phlegmagogues, giving ear, eye, nose, medicine, ointments, and counter ointments, eye surgery, podiatry, using balms to counter the side effects of previous remedies. The ascetic Gautama refrains from such base arts and wrong means of livelihood. It is monks for such elementary, inferior matters of moral practice that the worldling would praise the Tathagata. There are monks, other matters, other matters, profound, hard to see, hard to understand, peaceful, excellent, beyond mere thought, subtle, to be experienced by the wise, which the Tathagata, having realized them by his own super knowledge, proclaims, and about which those who would truly praise the Tathagata would rightly speak. And what are these matters?
Okay, so summarize what you think about the thing you just read.
Okay, so here the list of things that people praise the Tathagata for is continued here, and really covering a large gamut of different potential livelihoods. I mean, some really bad things like causing impotence, or like making sacrifices, but even some things that are like not bad in and of themselves, like different medicines. They're not even making a living from like treating people with medicine. Oh, bad ones like binding the tongue, binding the jaw, making hands jerk. So it's just clarifying that the Buddha, of course, engages in none of these things for livelihood, and that normal people look at that and see it as the thing to praise the Buddha for. But that here in the last paragraph, there is something that is more subtle that cannot really be like easily understood. It's experienced by people who have wisdom, and it's hard to explain or understand.
Yeah, some of this is why. Well, some of this is it's not, for example, the medicine master, right? It's good to be the medicine just like the doctor, right? Do you think it? But it's wrong for the monk. The monk. This is the focus. The subject here, the Buddha talking about is the monk, right?
Okay.
All this thing for the monk, it's wrong livelihood. But for the lay people, maybe some of them is good, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. But why, for example, if do you think the monk should become a doctor to take care of the patient?
I wonder about the difference between livelihood and a service. I know historically there were some monks that would give remedies to people for free, things that they had collected in the forest. Someone might come and visit them in their forest dwelling and ask for help, and the monk might help, but they would never charge. So
Right.
maybe that's actually where the problem is that the monk is could be kind of it could cause a problem if they're doing it to get money as opposed to help people.
Right. Right. And also, even though you do it for no money, right? That you get to give the mention. But should that be a good idea of the monk to do those kind of jobs? Do you think?
Well, it certainly would. There's an opportunity cost to everything. So if they're taking the time to learn all of these different medicines and they're needing to care for a lot of different people, well, then they would not have as much time to study the sutras and for
Mm.
uh, their the rest of their practice. So it seems in general that it wouldn't be a good thing to be that busy with treating people.
Well, in Buddhism, we have the ultimate way and also the mean, right? Well, we have to distinguish the two, the ultimate and the mean. The mean, that means you need to have the experience mean to help others. But when you focus too much on the experience mean, you might lose track of your ultimate goal. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to balance and we have to be very careful. Sometimes because of worldly craving, it's crazy, right? You sometimes we go into the wrong path that we don't even know. This is important that we can use the experiment to do it, but don't take things for that means don't let that thing control you. That sometimes it's very tough. Tell me, you understand, right? Tell me.
No, I don't understand what about expedient means
Huh?
in
What?
this situation. No, I don't understand what you're saying.
Which one? Which one?
Just this last part where you said with expedient means not to get too into it because it will consume your life.
Oh, okay. William, explain to her. You understand what?
I think you're talking about like you're speaking generally in the sense of so there's some things that we would do to be generous to help people as a sort of expedient means to develop a relationship, to develop an affinity, to be able to share with them these sorts of teachings. Especially a monk would be doing something like that. And so if they become too invested in those expedient means, and not recalling that it's in service to the ultimate way, that they may forget about the ultimate way and become attached to just that more narrow expedient means. So they can't hold on to that too tightly and have to remember the big picture.
The experience mean what I said. Well, in order to help others, we need to have the skill, right? The skill set of anything. For example, if you want to know how to treat the patient, you have to learn the medicine, right? You have to become some kind of medicine master or doctor, whatever. That's what I call the experiment. Or if you want to help someone to learn help them to understand the sutra, you have to, no, not only for the sutra, but help them to, for example, the tutor, right? Using the mean to help them to for their schoolwork, so they be able to learn the Dharma from us. So the learning the Dharma with us only 30 minutes, but spend 1 hour for the tutoring. So it's another way we can say that this is the experiment. Does that make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
So that means whatever we want to do, we have to have the skill for those experience. Experience means that means you have to knowledgeable about that, right? Otherwise, how do you get the skill to help others?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we spend too much for those things, we will lose track of our ultimate goal. Tell me, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense, but it seems like those kind of expedient means would lead to the ultimate goal. Like there are different pathways to get to the ultimate goal, right?
Well,
Unless you get completely consumed in them.
well, the experiment, if we spend too much time on the worldly experiment, then that means we forget about the ultimate way we lose track of the ultimate way to get there, right? So we have to be careful. We have to be very balanced, and we have to know ourselves, right? Very importantly, when we well, because for the monk, this is for the monk, not for the lay people. If we become a monk, what is the goal here? What is the mission? Because sometimes we have too much affliction, we cannot even help ourselves. How could we help others, right? So we try our best to learn the Dharma, and also learning the Dharma only for the principle, but we need to practice. That is to balance between the principle and the practice. That's how we be able to get the mind calm, right? And with that, when you spend time to do the experiment to help others, then it will bring more benefit to you as well others. But for the lay people, it's easier for the lay people, because for the lay people, it's more applicable. Does it make sense? But not for the monk. The monk too much to this? No. We have to draw the line where we should not go over the boundary. Right? Because all the things we spend time to help others, it only gives us the marriage, the blessing. But those blessings, when we encounter the trouble, emotionally, right? You cannot be able to use the blessing to resolve your problem. Does that make sense? William?
Yes.
Because the internal problem, that is the sick of the mind, right? The sick of the mind, you cannot use the material to deal with it. You have to use the Dharma, the wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
the practice. Just like when we learn the Buddhist psychology, right? Those are the remedy to help us. Does that make sense to you, Tammy?
I think so. It sounds like you're saying, don't focus too much on like the material, like using expedient means to have material gain. But as far as using it, but it also sounds like you're saying not to overly focus on using expedient means to help others, because then you could lose track of your own wisdom and growth.
Your own goal practice, the ultimate goal of practice. That is the spiritual, not the material. Yeah. So sometimes it's very tough to draw the line between the two. And a lot of things chaos, you know what, sometimes in this world, things not go smoothly. For example, suddenly we in the COVID-19 pandemic, everything upside down, right? Even though what when we want to plan to do this and that, no, but it doesn't come out like that. Yeah, sometimes there is an exception, it's okay. But don't over use it, then not okay. But for the lay people, it's okay for you for the lay people to do it, because that is the way you create the blessing. The difference between the lay people and the monk, that is the difference right there. Right? If I want to spend time to help others, why don't I just stay home, just a lay person and help? That is easy for me to do. I don't need to become a monk. That's not the whole goal of the becoming the monk. Okay? And you know what? Nowadays it's very tough to see the one who practice that is the ideal goal to practice. It's not easy. Very tough. Very, very tough. And it's not easy to find the right environment for the practice. It's not easy at all. Does it make sense? Right? That means we have to know ourselves. That's the most important. It doesn't mean that we suffer, but we want to make sure we benefit ourselves as well as others in the spiritual way, not in the material way. I think you rarely hear this thing, right? Very rarely hear it. But anyway, I hope I don't confuse. Thang Thiện, you understand that, Thang Thiện?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the profile, very profound. It's not easy to clarify all these things. But anyway, you know what? Whatever it comes from, but it's okay. We try our best. That's all we can do. Okay. Now we go in and we will learn about this. Before this, I just want to give you this, give you the introduction to this thing. Okay. Okay, Thang Thiện, go ahead and read this thing for me.
Yeah, more okay. The 62 kinds of wrong views. Number 1, 18 kinds of wrong views regarding the past. The wrong views related to the past, including 18 kinds of wrong views regarding the past, advocated by the reclusive and Brahmins, do entrance samadhi who recall the previous couples, previous life. One couple has many lives. 2.
Okay, you understand the thing?
From what I understand is this is the 18 kinds of wrong views, meaning they should not enter the samadhi to recall what the previous life. They should practice and focus what in the present moment.
Mm.
This is how I understand.
William, what do you think about this?
The first part, it sounds like the reason that these recluses and Brahmins have these particular views about the past is because of their kind of them recalling past lives, but without complete wisdom. So, and that in this case, something like they come up with these wrong views because they have this ability to recall past lives. And that they're going to later, you're going to tell us what those views are.
You remember the four channel, right? The four channel,
Yeah.
That means the fourth state of meditation in the form land, right? And also the four samadhi in the formless realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When they in the meditation state, so deep, and or in the samadhi, so deep, right? The mind become very subtle, and everything could happen, right? And when those things, that means different swing, different scenery come up from the arrive from the mind, and usually they do not have wisdom to recognize those things as a delusion, so they attach to it. So they will see the past life, and therefore throughout many past lives like that, and they conclude that we will learn about this. They conclude about the actually the cell and the world, the cell and the world. I forgot to include here, relate to the cell and the world to the past life. Okay, that is this one. Okay, this one here, that means the cell and the world relate to the 18 kind of wrong view due to the past life that and one kappa, there are many lives. Okay, that means in this Saha world, we have one kappa right now. It's the kappa name right now. It's called the kindness kappa. They have 1,000 Buddha appear in this kappa. Each Buddha represents for one life. Yeah, that anyway. So that's the first one, and the second one. John, go ahead and read the second one. John, are you there? Okay, Tammy, go ahead and read the second.
44 kinds of wrong views regarding the future. The wrong views related to the future, including 44 kinds of wrong views regarding the future, due to the recluses and Brahmins, rely on sensation having experiences through the six faculties, when in contact with the six senses, objects, and then because of craving arises clinging.
Everything in here, they were talking about the self. Okay, everything here, we're talking about the self. Oh, tell me, what do you think? What do you think?
So it sounds like they're talking about wrong views related to the future because of using your different senses to process the objects. Then that's going to relate into craving and clinging, which therefore in the future you're going to have wrong views because of the craving and clingings.
That's what the self actually represents for the self. We will learn about that. Okay. All right. Okay. You know what? Let's read the sutra before we go in here. Okay, let's read the sutra. All right. Okay, William, go ahead and start from beginning.
There are monks, some ascetics and Brahmins, who are speculators about the past, having fixed views about the past, and who put forward various speculative theories about the past in 18 different ways. On what basis, on what grounds do they do so? There are some ascetics and Brahmins who are eternalists, who proclaim the eternity of the self and the world in 4 ways. On what grounds? Wrong view number 1. Here, monks, a certain ascetic or Brahmin has by means of effort, exertion, application, earnestness, and right attention attained to such a state of mental concentration that he thereby recalls past existences. 1 birth, 2 births, 3, 4, 5, 10 births, 100, 1,000, 100,000 births, several hundred, several thousand, several 100,000 births. There my name was so and so, my clan was so and so, my caste was so and so, my food was such and such, I experienced such and such pleasant and painful conditions, I lived for so long. Having passed away from there, I arose there. There my name was so and so, and having passed away from there, I arose here. Thus he remembers various past lives, their conditions and details, and he says, the self and the world are eternal, barren like a mountain peak, set firmly as a post. These beings rush round, circulate, pass away, and re-arise, but this remains eternally. Why so? I have by means of effort, exertion, attained to such a state of mental concentration that I have thereby recalled various past existences. That is how I know the self and the world are eternal. That is the first way in which some ascetics and Brahmins proclaim the eternity of the self and the world.
Okay, good. Tell me what you see the first one.
Okay. So in this case, it is the situation where a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, so they're recalling their past lives, but they still don't have complete vision, complete and total vision. So since they can recall, 1 or multiple past lives, they make the assumption that that means that the self is eternal, that of course, each individual form in each life will pass away, but that there is a self set apart from conditions that is unchangeable. So, yeah.
Okay. But why this one the Buddha said to wrong view?
There is no true self in the sense of a thing that can be described or identified with that doesn't change, that the appearance of a self, the notion of a self actually comes from ignorance.
Well, but they see it, right? They see it not only 1 line, 2 line, but 100,000, several 100,000 birds, right? They see it, but where those things come from?
Where does the memory come from?
All this thing here, where did this thing come from?
This thing being like them remembering the past lives?
Yeah.
Well, so if the mind becomes very still and subtle, then the content in the alaya consciousness would be where the knowledge of past lives would be held. So if they're not engaged with the current sensory information and bringing in new content, well, then the content that's already in the alaya could come to the surface and they could begin to experience it.
Okay, tell me, you understand this so far?
Yes, I think so.
You think so? Okay, all right. All right, let me show you here. This is important. Okay. the difference between the mind consciousness and the mana consciousness. The mind consciousness, they have the memory, right? The mana consciousness, they do not have the memory. That means this is only happen when you in the deep meditation. Okay, the mind consciousness is completely absent during that time. That means no activity for the mind consciousness, but all the activity here, and that means the mana consciousness is attached to the whatever the knowledge, the information we put into the alaya, right? They attach to that at the self. So whatever you have in here, and they download it, right? They download it, and it will become whatever the state that we see, right? Those things we call illusion, delusion, illusion, because they are not true, because it come from here, right? It come from here, and it's so in here, and it do not retain. Only within the state of the meditation you see it. But when you get out, you might not be able to have the clear picture. But only the one who have the clear mind, right? They be able to remember a lot of things in there, but not all. Therefore, the Buddha said that if you attach to whatever the scenery that you see during your meditation, that is the wrong view. Because why? Because those is the illusion come from the alaya consciousness. So when we attach to the scenery, right? That whatever the image that we see, that whatever the image arise in during the samadhi or during the meditation, if we attach to it, that means, do you think that you will be full away from the Buddha nature, the pure nature? That means we are very far away from the Buddha nature. Does that make sense to you, Tammy? And then William?
Yes.
This is profound. This is important. And the people who love to do the meditation, but they don't have the right view, you know what happened to them? Is that a good thing or bad thing?
It can be a bad thing. I mean, they can become attached to states of meditation, pleasant states, pleasurable states, and it can just be another thing to become attached to.
This is a very, very bad thing. If they only care about the technical, we have to be very careful. If they only care about the technical, but they don't care about the learning the Dharma, and you know what? They will proclaim themselves the enlightened one, but they are not. You know what happens when they do that? They will fall in hell due to what you call the lion, right? The liar. This is the red liar, not the minor. This is the red liar that can put us into the hell. Very careful. So a lot of you can see this thing happen a lot in the world right now. Many of them, they proclaim themselves the enlightened one, and they lead a lot of good people go into the wrong path. The karma they create, oh my goodness, terrible, right? I think that a lot of us also know. Maybe some of us will already go through that, and then we also notice that, and it's very. So what happened to the teacher when the teacher flyly, right? No eye, flyly, and lead the group? What happened? If the leader fall into when they go to the top of the mountain and they don't see it, they could fall down, right? From the top of the mountain. That means they can lead the whole group fall with them as well. Tammy, you understand that, Tammy?
I think so, but it seems like it's without intent. Like, so since they're so good with meditation, they believe they're enlightened. So they really fool themselves. But they become leaders. So since they're fooling themselves, then they actually lead others into the same kind of path of, just focusing on meditation and living in delusion. So that's where their karma comes back, because not only do they do it for themselves, but they teach others to do the same thing.
But basically, they do not recognize the state that they went through during the meditation. It's an illusion come from the alaya consciousness. If they attach to those illusions as real, and they thought that they already enlightened, right? If they program themselves that they are the arahat or the enlightened one, that means they fool themselves, right? They fool themselves, and that means they become the red liar to the other people, because the other people, the one who follow them, will step into that path. And you know what? When we in that mind, who will be the most happy? William, who will be the most happy?
Who will be? Are we talking about Mara here?
Yeah, Mara will know the mind of the meditator. They waiting for the meditator to attach to those things, right? Now that means the meditator under control of the Mara. That means the demon king, right? They will control those people. And you know how they control? In the 50 state demon of the Sangha Rama. Remember? How you say that? The sutra.
Oh, the Shurangama?
Sangha Rama, right?
Shurangama.
So they have the 50 state demon, right? The 50 demon state from the 5 area, right? I think I should take that to our class, and it's very important. But only for the one who practice the meditation, they can sit for 2 hours or more, and that will happen only for those people. But if you sit 1 hour or below, don't worry.
Good, you're scaring me here.
No. If you only 1 hour or under 2 hours, don't worry. Those things, they will not come to you anyway. But for the one who sits very long, a couple hours or 2 or 3 hours, one sit, they will have all this kind of because the mind becomes pure, right? To the point that those things will be manifest very quickly from the alaya into the mana consciousness. Those manifestation state is so subtle that the meditator do not know themselves. The only thing the one who practice the meditation know it, that means they are the Buddha disciple. They listen to the Dhamma, and they will know that the difference between knowing the Dhamma or don't know the Dhamma. So yes, the outsider religion, they are very good at meditation, but they do not know the Dhamma. That's how they can be a problem for themselves. Okay, anyway. So very much for that. Okay. Any so far that doesn't make sense to you, right? Everyone? Tell me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. I want to make sure that we do understand. I know. It's if without the consciousness only, it's very tough to understand all these teachings. Okay. Okay. Anyway. Okay, that's the first one. Tammy, go ahead and read the second one, I think. Let me see. Number two and okay, try number two first, then we go one by one, I guess.
Wrong view number 2. And what is the second way? Here amongst a certain ascetic or Brahmin has by means of effort, extortion, attained to such a state of mental concentration that he thereby recalls one period of concentration and expansion. 2 such periods, 3, 4, 5, 10 periods of concentration and expansion. Thereby name was so and so. That is the second way in which some ascetics and Brahmins proclaim the eternity of the self in the world.
You understand?
So it sounds like through meditation, they concentrate on just a period, and since they concentrate on it, they proclaim it to be true. It seems like kind of the same. So are you saying that like the storehouse fools
Okay.
you?
No,
Like when you're
this
meditation?
this is the same thing with this thing. No different. The only difference is the bird, right? 1 bird, 2 bird, or 5 bird, whatever, 100,000 bird. This is the period. Period is more longer than the whatever the number of bird. That means this is way longer. That means this person will be able to see the past life for that many men. So they are the same thing, no different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But going back, so they're recalling through their storehouse past lives, or many of them at a time. But are they being fooled by the past lives, or is it just because they're clinging to the information that they can retrieve?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. Okay, that's a good question. What do you think about that, William?
I think what's happening is, since they're viewing past lives, they're saying, okay, I recall this experience that is like similar to my experience now. So therefore, if I had a past life, then I'll have a future life. And the self that is the string that connects all these lives, that self must be permanent. So they're like basically like now how we experience our self-delusion, self, they're using their experience of their past lives to reinforce their sense of self, because now they experience it in the previous lives. The one other thing I did want to put is, I think you saw the word contraction as concentration. So it was contraction and expansion as opposed to concentration and expansion. And I think that's referring to like the kalpa of decrease, the decrease and increase.
No, I don't think so. I think it's expansion for the period. They're talking about the period. The period be more longer than the birth, right? So the expansion or the expansion, that means you increase the number of periods. That's what I think.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how much you go up, even though they go to the very long time, and they see constantly like that. And therefore, they conclude that, okay, all this thing here always the same to me. Then that means the cell that I've been through the reincarnation, and also the world I saw in the past, is the same thing. That means eternal. That's what they concern. Does that make sense? Okay, in here we have to be remember all the phenomenon in this universe. Nothing gets lost in this universe. That means whatever we do in the past, right? Many past lives, it will in here. It will become the subconsciousness that we don't even see, because due to our ignorance, right? But to the one who do the meditation, they can be able to see that thing. And you know what? And sometimes in the sutra, you see the Buddha say that he went back so many eon kapat, right? That eon, that means the countless life, right? He'd be able to see the countless life in the past. Why? Because all those things that he been through is still in there in the Buddha nature, but he did not attach to those things. But we are always attached. That is the difference between the wisdom and the non-wisdom one. Does that make sense? Make sense? Whatever we learn in the past, we practice, we do this, do that, and we we practice all kind of things. We do good thing or bad thing. It's always in here. That nothing get lost in this Araya consciousness. Just like the recording, they record everything, and it becomes the subconsciousness. Does that make sense to you, William?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when the meditator, the mind becomes clear, right? Clear, and those things that they can be able to see the deeper of the ocean of the consciousness. They can dive deep into it, and they can see the in the deeper level of the subconsciousness. And even though whatever they see, but they attach to it, that is the wrong view due to the attachment. But if they do not attach to it, it's the right view. Things come and go. It's okay. You can see it, but do not attach to it. Do not problem. Do not conclude. Then that is the right view. The problem here, they attach and they conclude, they problem. As long as any kind of attachment, that gives us the wrong view. We have to free all attachment. And this is the most difficult thing to do for the meditation. The one who do not have wisdom. If they do not listen to the Buddha teacher, they have not learned the Buddha teaching, they have no idea how to do this. Does it make sense to you, Tammy?
It makes sense. But I guess my question now is, so it seems like it's a good thing that you can meditate so that your mind's pure enough where you can see that, where you can tap into the storehouse.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to do that without clinging to it. But to be able to see it would be helpful in your current life, just to know what had happened in the past. So just the knowledge and understanding wouldn't be considered clinging, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's good. So, for example, if the one who come to while the Buddha at the world in the world, right? If the person who come to the Buddha or come to the Buddha disciple want to become a monk, what they do is the Arhat, they will enter the meditation and they will see to examine the past life of this person, have any affinity with the Buddhism. Does it make sense? So this is just like the knowledge. It's good to use, but do not attach. Just like Hemi said. Right? William? Good knowledge to use, but do not attach. That's the most important. That is the key. As long as we attach, we then do. We will destroy ourselves. Because the Mara will control us. When the Mara controls us, you cannot escape. That is a very scary part. Yeah. So don't allow that happen. Okay. But don't worry, it will not happen to us anyway. We are too far. Just like tell me, don't worry. Yeah? Okay, anyway. Okay, we will stop right here, I guess. Well, we can do a little bit more. I think we got some time here. Let's do it more. I think number 3, number 3. It's similar to number 2 anyway. The 42 period. and so on. The number 4. Okay, all right, Thăng Thiền, you go ahead and do number 3 and number 3, number 4 together, I guess.
Yeah, both of that. Wrong view, number 3. And what is the third way? Here amongst a certain ascetic or Brahmin has by means of effort attains to such a state of mental concentration that he recalls 10, 20, 30, 40 period of contraction and expansion. There my name was so and so. This is the way in which some ascetic and the Brahmin proclaim the eternity of the self in the world. Wrong view. Number 4. What is the fourth way? Here is certain ascetic or Brahmin, a logician, a reasoner, hammering it out by reason, following his own line of thought. He argues the self and the world are eternal, bearing like a mountain peak, set permanently as a post. These being rushed around, circulate, pass away, and re-arise, but this remains forever. This is the fourth way in which some ascetic or Brahmin proclaim the eternity of the self and the world.
Okay, good. Stop right there. Okay, number 3, you don't have to explain because it's same thing with the 1 and 2. We'll go ahead to number 4.
So what he's saying is he keep saying that self and the world is all eternal, like he's keeping thinking the way they are, and he just keep this in his mind that self and the world are eternal, and this is the way he keep thinking about it, and he won't let go, and he keep attached to these things. That's how I understand.
Okay, all right, William, what do you think? Okay, let me what I, so okay, hold on. What did you understand from here? For the number 4?
That so the first 3 are basically that the Brahmin or the ascetic is directly recalling past lives, and so they come to their conclusion by that recollection through meditation. The fourth one is saying that they could also come to the same conclusion by thinking, by trying to follow a line of logic from their observations of just their experience in this current life. They could come to the same conclusion that the world and the self are eternal.
So rationalist, right? Logician, right? They trust their mind, right? Their perception. Is it a good thing to trust our mind?
I think in one sense of the word it is, in another sense it's not. It kind of depends what we're referring to. So if we trust in the Buddha nature when we're meditating and we're letting go, and so if we're using the term mind in a very broad sense, because it's like the same mind that ensnares us is also the same mind we use for liberation. But generally, no, the idea that we trust our mind is kind of like we go on reactions then, where whatever we think or whatever we feel, we assume it's right because we think it or we felt it. So
we will be fooled by them, right?
yeah.
So the mind of the judgment mind, we should not judge them. Trust them only when you attend the Arahant. Yes, you can trust your mind a little bit, but not much. So that will be very chaos if we trust our reasoning, right? It's very dangerous because most of the time we don't have wisdom, right? We will be trapped by the foolish reasoning, right? Tell me, do you understand that?
Sure, makes complete sense.
Okay, that's good. Okay, now we stop right here. We done that. Okay, let me. Okay. Okay. John, are you there, John? Okay, go ahead.
All right. May every living being, all minds is one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace for heart of goodness, luminous and bright. If people here see how hands and hearts combine in giving unity, may their minds wake to great compassion, wisdom, and joy. May kindness find reward, may also relieve their grief and pain. May its balance light break the darkness of the endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world pain turn to paradise. May all become compassionate wise. May all become compassionate wise.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you.